Get ready for the most intense battle in superhero history. When Superman, Hulk, and Iron Man form an unlikely alliance to face an unstoppable villain, the world is thrown into chaos. But the real twist comes when a shocking confession from Superman changes everything. With the Avengers and Justice League forced to put aside their differences, trust is broken, secrets are revealed, and a battle like no other unfolds. Who will stand tall and who will fall? Brace yourself for the ultimate showdown where betrayal, power, and truth collide in a fight for the fate of the universe. Watch till the end, because this is a story that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about these legendary heroes. The unexpected alliance. The world was on the brink of collapse. Across every major city, strange tremors shook the ground, powerful storms raged out of nowhere, and mysterious energy fields ravaged entire countries. It was as if reality itself was bending under the strain of some unseen force. Governments scrambled to make sense of it all, but nothing could stop the chaos. But as the world teetered on the edge of disaster, the Justice League and the Avengers were nowhere to be found. Something was happening. A force beyond even their control was rising, and no one knew how to fight it. That was until Superman, Hulk, and Iron Man appeared, not as friends, but as desperate warriors looking for any ally in their fight. Superman, standing tall in his iconic blue suit, eyes burning with determination, turned to Iron Man, his cape billowing in the wind. The normally unshakable man of steel was struggling to hide the weight of the situation. Beside him, Hulk grunted, clearly irritated, his massive green frame crackling with raw power. Despite their legendary powers, the trio knew they were up against something far worse than they'd ever faced before. "We need to work together," Superman said, his voice carrying a weight of urgency. "The world is falling apart, and the only way to stop this is to unite forces. We can't let our egos get in the way." Iron Man's face was hidden behind his helmet, but his tone was unmistakably skeptical. "You're asking me to trust a rampaging Hulk and the last son of Krypton? That's a tall order, even for a genius billionaire." He crossed his arms, a smirk forming beneath the helmet. Hulk growled in response, his massive fists clenched. "Hulk smash, not talk. But we fight together. World needs it." Superman stepped forward, his eyes meeting Iron Man's with a hint of guilt. "This isn't about pride. We don't have time to argue. There's something out there, something worse than any villain we've ever faced. And it's pulling the strings from the shadows. If we don't put aside our differences, we're all finished." Iron Man paused for a moment, then nodded. "All right, fine. We're doing this your way, for now. But I need to know what we're up against, and I need the Avengers and the Justice League on board. This isn't just about you three." Superman's gaze hardened, but before he could speak, the ground beneath them shook violently. The sky above darkened, swirling into an ominous vortex. A cold, eerie voice echoed through the air, reverberating in their minds. "You dare challenge me, puny mortals?" the voice thundered. "I am the one who bends the rules of reality itself. None of you are strong enough to stop what's coming." The heroes looked at each other in shock. This wasn't just a villain with a plan. This was something far darker, something that could bend reality to its will. "This is what we're facing," Superman said, clenching his fists. "We're dealing with someone who controls not just power, but the very fabric of the universe itself." Suddenly, Iron Man's HUD flashed red. "We've got company," he muttered. "And it's not friendly." A massive portal opened in the sky, and from it descended a terrifying figure, a massive, otherworldly being, armored from head to toe, with eyes glowing an unnatural shade of blue. "That's him," Superman muttered, recognizing the figure from ancient Kryptonian texts. "The one who's been manipulating the chaos. The one who's tearing our worlds apart." The creature floated down toward them, an aura of dark energy surrounding it. As it landed, the very air seemed to crackle with power. Hulk roared, leaping into the air, his fist smashing toward the enemy, but the creature raised a hand, stopping Hulk mid-flight with nothing but a gesture. "Foolish mortal," the creature sneered, its voice cold and full of contempt. "You think you can stop me? You who cannot even control your own emotions. Hulk's eyes narrowed in rage, but he knew better than to charge blindly. This was no ordinary foe. Iron Man took a step back, quickly analyzing the situation. Okay, this is way beyond anything we prepared for. Superman, you said this guy controls reality. That means we can't just fight him head-on. We need a strategy. Superman's eyes gleamed with determination. We don't have time for strategies. He's already starting to unravel the fabric of our reality. The longer we wait, the worse it will get. We have to strike now together. But the creature wasn't waiting. With a snap of its fingers, the world around them began to warp. The ground cracked open and twisted. Shadowy figures rose from the fissures. These were no ordinary enemies. They were creations of pure chaos, born from the fabric of reality itself. Iron Man's thrusters flared, and he shot into the air, firing his repulsor beams at the advancing enemies. Hulk roared, smashing the ground beneath him and sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Superman, hovering above, unleashed his heat vision, burning through the dark figures as they advanced. But for every enemy they destroyed, 2 more appeared in their place. It was a losing battle. We can't keep this up forever, Iron Man shouted, barely avoiding a blast of dark energy. This is a distraction. Where's the real threat? Superman's face grew grim. The real threat is him, he said, pointing to the creature who stood calmly watching them from a distance. We need to end this now. We have to get to him before he completely breaks our world. But just as they prepared for the final strike, the creature laughed, an eerie, mocking sound that chilled their bones. You think you can defeat me? You're nothing but pawns in a game you can't even begin to understand. But go ahead, heroes. Fight. Struggle. It won't matter. In the end, I will win. And with that, the battlefield around them erupted in a blinding flash of light. Battle of Titans. The blinding flash of light began to fade, revealing a distorted version of the battlefield. The ground had cracked open, and the sky was no longer a simple expanse of blue. It was a swirling mass of energy, filled with shadows and strange, shifting lights. The rules of reality had already begun to bend under the creature's power. Superman was the first to recover, hovering in midair, his eyes scanning the horizon. His expression was grim. This is worse than I thought. It's not just our physical reality he's altering. It's our very perception of the world. Hulk growled, his muscles rippling with barely contained rage. Smash him. End this now. He raised his fists, preparing to charge at the creature once again. Iron Man's voice crackled through the comms, laced with a mix of concern and calculation. Hold on, big guy. We need a plan. This guy's messing with our heads. We can't just rush in and hope for the best. Trust me, I've seen this kind of stuff before. Superman turned to Iron Man, his face serious. What do you suggest, Tony? Iron Man's visor scanned the battlefield, analyzing the situation. First, we need to take out his minions. They're feeding off this chaotic energy. Once we've cleared them out, we can focus on him. But it's going to take more than just brute force to stop this. The shadows began to shift again, and more twisted figures materialized out of the ground, each more grotesque than the last. These weren't simple enemies. They were embodiments of the chaos the creature had unleashed. As they advanced, they seemed to distort the air around them, causing the very fabric of reality to ripple. Hulk's eyes flashed green with fury. Hulk, smash chaos. Smash all. Without another word, he leaped into the fray, crashing into the nearest twisted figure with a powerful roar. The ground shook beneath his feet, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Iron Man zoomed in behind him, launching a series of energy blasts to clear a path. Nice hit, big guy. But we're going to need more than just muscle. These things are feeding off the chaos around us. Superman's heat vision cut through the air, obliterating one of the creatures in a burst of searing light. He gritted his teeth, clearly feeling the strain. I'm trying to keep them at bay, but there's too many. They're everywhere. We need to take down the source of the chaos, the creature controlling all of this. Iron Man nodded in agreement. That's the problem, though. We don't even know where to start. We can't get close to him while these things are around." The creature stood in the distance, observing them with cold, emotionless eyes. "You can't escape it," it called out, its voice rumbling like distant thunder. "Every time you strike, I become more powerful. Your efforts are futile." Superman clenched his fists, eyes glowing with intensity. "We'll see about that." He surged forward, launching himself toward the creature, but before he could reach him, the battlefield shifted again. The ground beneath Superman's feet crumbled, and he fell into a void, an endless, swirling abyss that seemed to stretch on forever. His body was weightless, suspended in a dark, cold space. "Where am I?" Superman thought, panic creeping into his mind. This wasn't just a physical battle, it was psychological warfare. The creature wasn't just bending reality, it was attacking their minds. Superman's thoughts were scattered, his usual sense of clarity clouded. Suddenly, a voice echoed in the darkness. "You are nothing, Kal-El. You always have been. You think you're saving the world, but you're the reason it's all falling apart. Everything you've done has been for nothing." Superman's heart pounded in his chest as he floated in the void. These words weren't just an attack on his mind. They were a deep personal assault. Could it be true? Had everything he fought for been in vain? The doubts began to creep in. But then a voice, Tony Stark's voice, cut through the darkness. "Clark, don't listen to it. You're not alone in this. We've got your back." Superman blinked, and the darkness shattered around him, replaced by the chaotic battlefield once again. He was back, but the doubts lingered. He could feel the weight of the world pressing down on him. Could they really win this battle? Could they trust each other enough to save everything? Meanwhile, Hulk continued to rage against the twisted creatures, his fists smashing anything that came near him. But even his strength was starting to falter as the battlefield continued to distort. Every punch seemed to create new enemies, and the ground beneath him shifted constantly. Iron Man was the only one holding it together, his mind constantly racing for a solution. He began using his tech to create energy barriers, trying to separate the enemies from the heroes. But he knew it wasn't enough. They needed to defeat the creature controlling this reality. "We can't keep up like this," Tony said, his voice growing more strained. "We need to figure out how to reach the source of this madness. If we don't stop him, this entire world, our world, will be lost." But the creature's voice once again echoed through the battlefield. "You will never stop me. You will always be trapped in your own mind, your own weakness. I will break you all." Superman, now back on his feet, turned to Iron Man. "Tony, how do we stop him? We can't keep fighting these shadows forever." Tony's face was hidden behind his helmet, but Superman could feel the gears turning in his mind. "We need to find a way to cut off his power, his connection to this reality. But it's not going to be easy. He's playing with our minds, using our own fears and doubts against us." Hulk's voice rumbled as he swung his massive fists through another group of enemies. Hulk not scared. Hulk smash all. Iron Man let out a frustrated sigh. "I wish it were that simple. But we can't just smash our way out of this one. This is going to take more than brute strength." The creature's laugh echoed in the distance as the world around them shifted again. "You are weak. You are nothing. And soon, the universe will bow before me." And just like that, the battle raged on, each moment more chaotic and desperate than the last. The heroes' minds were fraying at the edges, and time was running out. If they didn't stop this villain soon, the universe itself might be lost forever. The confession that shocks them all. The battlefield was a war zone, torn apart by the chaotic energies the creature had unleashed. The ground was unstable, constantly shifting, and the sky above flickered between dimensions, each one more unstable than the last. The shadows, now more monstrous than ever, twisted and writhed with dark energy. Hulk continued to fight, his roars shaking the very air, but even his unparalleled strength was starting to waver. Superman, his cape torn and his body showing signs of wear, stood at the edge of the battlefield, breathing heavily. The psychological assault had been overwhelming. The doubts planted in his mind by the creature lingered, clouding his thoughts. Could they truly win this fight? And worse, Was he truly the hero everyone thought he was, or had he failed them all? Iron Man, ever the strategist, was using his advanced technology to push back the twisted creatures, but he could feel the strain as well. The battlefield was not just a physical one, it was mental. Every time they struck, they were met with more chaos. They couldn't seem to gain any ground. Clark, Tony's voice crackled through Superman's earpiece, his tone serious. We need to focus. This isn't just a fight for our physical strength. It's about defeating this villain's control over our minds. You've been through a lot, but we need you sharp. Superman took a deep breath, his gaze fixed on the ground below him. I know, but there's something I need to tell you all. Something I should have said a long time ago. Iron Man's voice softened, a rare moment of understanding coming through the comms. What's going on, Clark? Superman turned his gaze toward the horizon, his voice barely a whisper. I'm not just here to stop this villain. I came because I knew this was coming. I knew he would rise again. The villain controlling this reality. He's an ancient being, someone I've encountered before, and he's connected to my past. The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of truth. Iron Man paused, disbelief evident in his voice. Wait, are you saying you knew about this? You knew this was going to happen and didn't tell us? Superman's eyes flashed with a mix of pain and regret. I had no choice. He's tied to Krypton, to my bloodline, a being older than even the ancient Kryptonians themselves. And he's the reason I came to Earth in the first place. Hulk, in the middle of his rampage, stopped for a moment. Hulk confused, what is this? His words were simple, but the confusion in his voice mirrored the shock the others were feeling. Superman continued, his voice filled with emotion. I thought I could stop him when I was younger. I thought I had the power to change my destiny. But when I found him, when I first encountered him, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Tony Stark's voice grew more insistent. Clark, what kind of offer? What are you talking about? Superman turned toward them, his face a mask of regret. He told me that if I joined him, if I gave him control of the Earth, he would spare my people. He would keep Krypton alive. He promised me that. But when I rejected him, he swore revenge. He's been biding his time, manipulating events, and now he's finally making his move. The full weight of Superman's confession hit the team like a tidal wave. Hulk, always impulsive, growled in confusion. You let this monster live? You let him control you. Superman's fists clenched. I didn't know. At the time, I thought I could handle it. I thought I could stop him on my own. But now it's too late. He's too strong, and he's using my past against me. Iron Man, always the pragmatist, shifted his weight, his eyes narrowing behind his helmet. So what's the plan now, Superman? Do we still fight this guy, or just hand over the planet to him? Superman's expression softened, his shoulders sagging under the weight of his confession. We fight, Tony. But I need you to trust me. This villain has control over more than just this reality. He has control over all of our minds. If we don't stop him now, he will tear this world apart, and everything we've fought for will be lost. The creature, who had been observing their conversation from a distance, suddenly spoke, his voice booming across the battlefield. You think you can stop me, Kryptonian? Your past is nothing but a prison. And now your friends will fall, just like you have. They are nothing but pawns in this game. With a snap of his fingers, the ground beneath them cracked open again, and new horrors emerged, more twisted versions of the hero's darkest fears. Hulk's rage was now amplified, forcing him to fight against hallucinations of his own failure, while Iron Man was bombarded with visions of his past mistakes. Even Superman wasn't spared. He saw the image of his parents' death replaying in front of him, as if it was happening all over again. But this time, something was different. Superman stepped forward, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. No more running. No more hiding. I'm done letting this villain control me, and I'm done letting him control all of us. Hulk roared in agreement, his fury reaching a boiling point as he smashed through the twisted figures. Hulk smash fear. Hulk fight now. Iron Man, his systems under strain from the mental onslaught, managed to override his suit's programming. We can't let him control us any longer. Let's show this guy what happens when we work together." With renewed determination, the heroes regrouped, their resolve stronger than ever. Superman led the charge, his heat vision cutting through the air, while Iron Man unleashed an all-out assault with his most powerful weapons. Hulk, the unstoppable force, charged through the chaos, smashing his way through the enemy forces. But the villain's laugh echoed through the battlefield, more sinister than ever. "You think you can defeat me? Your minds are already broken. You are mine." Superman's eyes blazed with fury as he launched himself toward the creature. Not today. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, the heroes felt they might have a chance. They had learned each other's secrets and trusted in each other, and together, they would fight this battle until the very end. Unlikely heroes. The battlefield was now a twisted version of chaos. The once familiar Earth had become a nightmarish landscape, ripped apart by the creature's manipulation of reality. The ground was cracked and burning, the sky above constantly shifting through warped dimensions, and strange, monstrous versions of the heroes' fears prowled the edges of the fight. But now, for the first time, Superman, Hulk, and Iron Man stood united, not just physically, but in their purpose. Superman hovered high above the fray, his eyes scanning the chaos below. His muscles were sore, his mind clouded with the remnants of the villain's mental assault. But there was a fire in his eyes now. After his confession, after the weight of his past had been laid bare, something had changed within him. He was no longer just the hero trying to save the world. He was a man driven by the truth, fueled by the desire to protect what he loved. Iron Man, hovering in the sky beside him, fired repulsor beams at the ever-growing army of dark creatures that had been conjured by the villain. His suit was battered, glowing red from the intense heat. But Tony Stark's mind was sharper than ever. Despite the mental chaos and confusion, his tech was still his greatest weapon. Hulk, down on the ground, was smashing through enemy after enemy, his rage unrelenting. But as the battle raged on, he could feel the strain. His rage, though powerful, was being drained. He was starting to falter, and for the first time in a long time, Hulk was forced to face the truth that his strength alone wouldn't be enough to save him. "You think your strength is enough?" the villain's voice boomed, echoing across the battlefield. "You are all so small, so insignificant. Your minds are fragile, your spirits weak. You will break. I will break you." Superman's jaw tightened, but Iron Man's voice cut through the tension. "We're not going to break. Not this time." With that, Iron Man turned to Hulk. "Bruce, we need you to hold it together. I know it's tough, but we need to work together, not just as raw power, but as a team. We can't win if we don't think things through." Hulk growled, still swinging his fists at the attacking creatures. Hulk smash, but Hulk listen. Hulk try. Superman, seeing the struggle in Hulk's eyes, floated down to him. "You've never been alone in this fight, Bruce. We've got you. We just need to focus together." The words struck something deep within Hulk. For the first time in the battle, the raging green giant paused. He looked around at Superman and Iron Man, the weight of his past anger and isolation beginning to lift. For all his strength, he had never been able to do it alone. But now, with Superman's unshakable resolve and Iron Man's strategy, Hulk understood. They were more than just allies. They were a team. "Okay," Hulk said, his voice gruff but clear. "Team." Hulk smashed with brains. Smash big. Iron Man grinned, even in the midst of the battle. That's the spirit. With renewed determination, the trio launched into action. Iron Man's repulsors fired in synchronized blasts, pushing back the dark creatures and giving Hulk the space he needed to throw massive punches, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Superman, soaring above them, used his heat vision to burn through the enemy ranks, carving a path toward the creature that had been manipulating them all. But the villain was waiting. As the heroes advanced, a massive force field of dark energy enveloped them, halting their progress. The creature's voice boomed, more ominous than ever. "You think you can stop me? I have already won. This world will bend to my will. You will all be forgotten, your names lost in the annals of history." Superman's eyes narrowed. "Not if I can help it." He surged forward, his speed a blur, but before he could break through the barrier, the creature raised a hand, and the world around them shifted again. This time, Superman wasn't in a battlefield. He was standing in the ruins of his childhood home. The memories flooded back, his parents' voices calling out to him. But as he reached for them, they vanished. "No, I've already faced this," Superman shouted, the dark manipulation of the creature twisting his mind. "You won't control me anymore." Iron Man's voice broke through the haze. "Clark, stay with us. We've got this. We need you to focus. We're in this together." Hulk, standing behind them, bellowed, "Hulk, not scared. Hulk, fight for friends." The words were enough to snap Superman back to reality. He focused, blocking out the illusions, the fears, and the doubts that had plagued him. He remembered why he fought, why he became Superman in the first place, to protect those he loved, and to ensure that no one else would fall to the darkness that had once claimed his home. With renewed strength, Superman pushed forward, focusing all his energy into a single concentrated blast of heat vision, aimed at the creature's force field. Iron Man added his own firepower, launching missiles from his suit, while Hulk charged with a roar, smashing into the barrier with all his might. For a moment, it felt like nothing would work. But then slowly, cracks began to appear in the dark force field, and with one final, powerful hit from Hulk, the barrier shattered. The creature, standing at the center of the chaos, sneered. "You think you've won? This is just the beginning." But Superman, Iron Man, and Hulk didn't hesitate. They moved as one, a perfectly synchronized team of unstoppable force. With a unified roar, they charged toward the creature, their combined power overwhelming the villain's dark grip on reality. The villain faltered, his form flickering. Impossible. But it was too late. With one final push, the heroes defeated the creature's control over reality, and the battlefield fell silent. For the first time, the world seemed to return to normal. The sky cleared, the ground stabilized, and the monstrous figures vanished. But the battle was far from over. The three heroes stood together, breathing heavily, their minds still reeling from the battle. Superman turned to Iron Man and Hulk. "We've won this round, but there's still much more to be done." Iron Man nodded. "We're not done yet, but we've shown him that together we can defeat anything." Hulk grinned. "Hulk smash bad guy." And with that, the heroes prepared for whatever came next, united, stronger than ever. The final confrontation. The world had been saved, at least for now. The dark, twisted energy that had consumed the battlefield was gone. The villain's hold on reality shattered by the combined strength of Superman, Hulk, and Iron Man. But peace was fleeting, and the air was still thick with tension. The battle was far from over. As the dust settled, Superman hovered above the ruined landscape, his cape billowing in the wind. His eyes scanned the horizon, but all was still. The ground beneath them had been torn apart, the sky still a strange blend of shifting energies. The victory felt hollow. The villain's presence was still looming over them. "Where is he?" Iron Man's voice crackled through the comms, his helmet reflecting the dimming light. "He can't be gone. We haven't seen the last of him." Superman's gaze hardened. "He's not gone. He's always been one step ahead of us. But we've taken the first step, and now we need to finish this." Hulk, standing tall and battered from the battle, growled. "Hulk, not stop until bad guy gone. Hulk smash final." Iron Man let out a small sigh behind his mask. "That's the plan, big guy. But we need to be careful. We don't know his full power, and I have a feeling we're in for something worse than we've seen so far." Just as Iron Man finished speaking, a deafening roar echoed from the sky above. The villain, now fully revealed in his true form, descended from the clouds. His armor gleamed with dark energy, and his eyes burned with an unnatural light. The creature that had once been a mere shadow now stood before them, larger than life, his presence exuding power and malice. "You think you've won," the creature boomed, his voice reverberating through the air. "This was never about your strength. You were merely pawns in a game I've already won. Your world is nothing more than a stepping stone in my conquest of reality itself." Superman's eyes flared with anger. You won't control this world. Not now, not ever. The villain laughed, a cruel, mocking sound. You still don't understand, do you? I have the power to bend reality. I can twist your very existence to my will. And once you fall, so will the rest of this universe. You're all fools. Iron Man, using his tech to analyze the villain's energy signature, quickly spoke up. We can't just keep fighting him like this. We need to disrupt his connection to the dark energies he's using. If we don't cut him off from that power source, we're all toast. Superman nodded, determination in his eyes. Then we go after the source. We'll fight him together. No more hesitation. Without a second thought, the three heroes surged forward, attacking the villain with everything they had. Superman used his heat vision to cut through the dark energy swirling around the creature, while Hulk barreled through the air, fist swinging, landing blow after blow. Iron Man fired his arsenal of weapons, from repulsors to missiles, in a relentless barrage. But the villain was too strong. Every strike they landed seemed to make him more powerful, more unstable. With a swift gesture, he sent a wave of dark energy crashing into them, sending the three heroes flying back. Is this all you have? The villain taunted. Pathetic. I'll tear you apart, piece by piece. The heroes struggled to get back on their feet. Iron Man's systems were beginning to overload from the constant barrage of energy. Hulk, though powerful, was showing signs of fatigue. And Superman, for all his strength, was beginning to feel the weight of their battle. But then, something shifted. The three heroes locked eyes, their bond stronger than ever. The weight of their individual struggles melted away, and for the first time, they understood. This wasn't just a fight for the world, it was a fight for each other. They were no longer separate entities fighting their own battles. They were a team. We end this now, Superman said, his voice resolute. Iron Man, his suit flickering with low power, nodded. We're in this together, guys. Hulk's roar filled the air as he charged forward once again, pushing past his exhaustion, fueled by the strength of their unity. With a massive leap, he tackled the villain, knocking him off balance. As the villain staggered, Iron Man launched a full-powered missile right at the creature, and Superman, using every ounce of his strength, unleashed a concentrated blast of heat vision directly at the creature's core. The villain screamed in agony, his form flickering and distorting as his power began to fade. But even in his weakening state, he tried to fight back, summoning one final, desperate wave of dark energy. "No," the villain howled. "This cannot be." But before he could finish, Hulk's fists landed a crushing blow to the creature's chest, knocking him to the ground with a resounding crash. The villain's body flickered one last time, and with a final, deafening explosion, he disintegrated into nothingness. The silence that followed was overwhelming. The battlefield, once filled with chaos and destruction, was now eerily still. The sky began to clear, and the ground began to heal. The twisted energy that had corrupted the world was finally gone. The three heroes stood together, panting, their bodies battered but unbroken. Superman, Iron Man, and Hulk, each one had fought their hardest, but it was their unity, their strength together, that had won the day. "We did it," Superman said, his voice filled with both exhaustion and relief. Iron Man let out a small, tired laugh. "Yeah, I guess we make a pretty good team." Hulk, grinning ear to ear, raised his fists in the air. "Hulk smash bad guy. Hulk win." As the sun set on the battlefield, the three heroes knew their world was safe, for now. But they also knew that the bond they had forged would carry them through any challenge that came next. They weren't just a team, they were a family. And, together, there was nothing they couldn't face. Conclusion. The final battle concluded with intense action, powerful teamwork, and emotional weight, ensuring that viewers are fully invested in the resolution and the hero's journey. By emphasizing the unity of the characters, their individual struggles, and their eventual victory, this part delivers a satisfying conclusion while keeping the momentum high.